understand. So, if you want, you can talk to an attorney about it later or something like that. As of right now, they want you to drag me out, guys. Sir, I really don't want to.
I know you don't want to do it. I know you do not want to do it.
Yep.
I know this guy doesn't want to do it, but unfortunately you have to follow these fools' rules, right?
If it's part of their policy that you have to wear a
Yeah,
mask,
so
then you gotta
force
wear a mask.
me out.
You're really gonna do
You're
this
gonna
one?
make, yes, you're going to
At that
have to
point-
drag me out.
At that point, you could.
This is what you are doing.
At that point, you could.
You are sowing
additional
discord
charges.
within our communities at every level. It's disgusting. Do you harass your clients when they're at your restaurant to put on masks?
Sir,
Do you harass them?
sir, we're not gonna.
Do you?
At this point, you could be facing additional charges of obstruction if you don't.
Of what? I get it. I get it.
So then
I
you can
get
you
it.
at least
I
come with
get
me.
it.
We'll figure it
You're
out.
gonna have to
Okay.
drag me out.
This is absurd. Completely absurd.
You know that, right?
All right, sir. We're going.
No, you a little.
This is an embarrassment to our school.
Don't do it, man.
Relax.
Read, you're fine.
Relax.
It ain't worth all of that, brother.
Come on, sir.
Read.
No.
Read, don't resist. Don't resist, seriously. Don't resist, please. Read.
Come on.
Let go of this.
You will have to tase me in front of all these people.
I really don't want to take.
Don't tase
I
him.
know
Alright, so
you
we
don't.
don't.
And I want these people to video it while their cops of minority descent have to do this to everybody. Constantly putting you people in these positions.
He just wants to have a say in what's going on. Well, we pay. We pay school taxes. We just don't resist. We all believe in what you do. This is an embarrassment.
Welcome to the Hedgehog Watchdog. I'm your host, Evan Saxon, joined always by Greg Baldwin. We're the meme team behind Libertarian Party of South Dakota, the South Dakotans Against Prohibition. Today's episode is brought to you by pinkcoin.com. Our guest today is Reed Bender. He's running for the Mitchell School Board. Welcome to the show, Bender, or Reed.
Welcome.
Thanks for having me.
I think it's self-explanatory from the video, but we're going to ask you what made you decide to run for the Mitchell School Board, and what's your background?
Well, I guess we'll just start with the obvious. So I stay out of politics as much as possible. I hate them. I think politics are disgusting. There's probably about one politician that I like. As these rules were being implemented within our school, I stayed out of it because I just didn't expect it to happen here in Mitchell, South Dakota.
Yeah,
I thought they were better than that. After they implemented, I decided to go talk to some educators. I talked to the superintendent. I talked to the principal at the high school. A few different teachers. Ended up going to my first meeting. There, I spoke there. They didn't seem to like me or anybody else talking. There was no dialogue between the parents and the board. Zero.
Mm-hmm.
Then I went to another meeting. Same thing. They didn't like what I had to say on that one. I was a little bit more direct to them in that second meeting. Told them what I thought about their leadership skills and many other things that I don't think they appreciated. The video you saw was my third meeting.
Okay.
So I went in. The first two meetings I didn't have.
Third time's the charm, right?
I guess it was. They didn't. not one time did anybody ask me to put a mask on until they started that meeting, that third meeting with put a mask on or get out. And I just decided that it was an intimidation tactic on their part, is the way I felt. And I'm not easily intimidated, I guess, to put it bluntly. So I decided to just say no, right? And that's about it. As far as my background, I was born and raised here in Mitchell. I grew up in the Mitchell education system, the public school system here, and I clean sewers for a living with a family business. I know as all the any article that was written about it, they like to bring the family business in. They always like to say the business. I'm assuming just to hurt the business. You know how these media people are, I guess. That's the way I feel. They tried to hurt the business. But as I grew up, I had the opportunity to work for the school system at a very young age. I remember working in the high school as a freshman, junior, whatever, throughout my high school years, working at the school. And every time I went there, I was always embarrassed that one of my friends would see me or whatever. But it also gave me the opportunity to work with the custodians, the maintenance people of the school district and all that stuff. So I was able to, I do know a little bit about that side, the bottom side. I don't know about administration and the school boards and stuff like that. I don't, but I've had experiences with a lot of those people just by talking to them, I guess. And I think that's what's missing in our school board is a dialogue, is these people on the school boards just thinking they know better and they want to tell you what to do. And I don't think they do. I think they just follow the policies that are pushed down through either Department of Education or CDC or whoever it is. And they just want to cover their own asses, basically. So that's, and I understand that that's how it works, but once all this stuff started happening, I mean, we were all scared in the beginning. And I had my own fears with my son, who has some breathing problems ever since he was young. And I just didn't think it was right for my kid to be wearing a mask all day. I still don't believe it. So I guess that's where we're at. And then it fired me up enough, I guess, to do something because all this bullshit coming in from 1,500 miles away from this destructive culture or the destructive politics of our day. Those policies and those things are bleeding into my community here in Mitchell, and I don't like it.
Yeah. Well, there's an old saying that can't remember who to give credit to, but it's you can ignore politics, but politics isn't going to ignore you. And
that's a good saying, and it doesn't. So, and we're so fortunate here in South Dakota. I mean, we've been in school. I don't have. I mean, we've done great overall throughout the whole pandemic. Our unemployment rates are down in South Dakota because we never closed down. So, it's really hard for me to go after them on so many things because we're doing so good here, right? But I think we can be better. That's it, because I think we are better here in South Dakota. We don't have so much of that craziness, that chaos, and I want to keep that chaos out of my schools because these. Okay, so I'll bring this up. The school board meeting in California. There was a Zoom meeting where all the school board members were talking trash about the parents. You remember that one?
Yeah, I remember that, and they didn't know that they were live with.
They didn't know they were live. One of the things they said was, one of them said was that the parents just want their babysitters back, right? Well, that's not untrue. The school system is basically like a babysitter, and they have a huge impact on our kids because our kids do spend so much time. Their parents more and more have to work 2 jobs, or both parents are working, and the kids, and we rely on that school system to teach our kids, and it just keeps getting worse. It doesn't get better. When I was raising my kid, my oldest is 15 now, or about to be 15. He was raised through the public school system the first 5 years, I guess, kindergarten through 5th. And in 3rd grade, I think it was, Common Core was implemented, right? And I learned about Common Core, and then I seen the effect it's had on my kids, on my relationship with my kids. I can't even do my math with my son anymore. Math is one of my strong points. Don't ask me to write anything, but math is my strong point. And I can't even do math with my son anymore. And that's the problem with some of our education system, these policies, these new theories that keep coming into our school system that's constantly changing it, constantly create new programs that are supposed to make our kids excel, and they don't. And I think it has to do with the constant changing of our education system, of the curriculum that is it's just that changing. We can't. It doesn't need to. Math doesn't change. Science doesn't change. History doesn't change. It's how we're teaching them that continually changes, and that's brought on by politics or just the bad part of culture. So and that's. I don't want to knock my school down and say they're terrible, because I don't think they are. I think, like I said, I think we've done great overall, but I don't want to see more of this BS come to our school. I want to keep our kids safe. I want to do the right thing for these kids. I want them to excel. I want them to become good citizens. I want them, respectable citizens. I want them to become independent, critical thinkers, instead of this.
I was just going to say that, critical thinking students. That's a good thing.
And have some, their critical thinking would be nice. Wouldn't these kids being able to think for themselves instead of this dependent thinking, this collectivist type thinking that everybody's, it's scary to see what's coming because we're so isolated here in South Dakota from a lot of that BS. But it's here in this world that has become so small with the internet, So I don't.
So I'm a little bit out of the loop on school because my kid actually will give her a shout out. Mercedes turned 23 on Friday, so I don't have any kids in school, so I'm a little out of the loop. What did Mitchell do in response to Corona? Did they shut down for a while? Did they require students to wear masks?
They shut down at the end of last year. The state of South Dakota, we took their state A tournament from them. I think the girls basketball was actually in the process of playing, and I think it was the first day of the state tournament, and then they shut it down. They didn't even get to finish that. For me, I played 1 year of sports. I played football and basketball my senior year, and those are those times that I remember playing the state A tournament. That was huge for me to be in that situation, to just everything, the crowd screaming and all that's excitement around it. That had a big impact on my life, basically because it was my first year and everything, and I had the opportunity to do that. And I actually had an opportunity to play, as a first year player. And I seen those kids miss that opportunity, and it disgusted me to see it take it away from those children. Because even back then we knew, it was scary times back then. But we know, especially now, that it doesn't affect kids that much, right? It is affecting the older crowd. And go ahead.
When was that incident on the video? Was that 2020?
That was 2020, I think.
Okay.
Good question. November.
Okay.
October, November time frame. I'm not sure.
Okay.
I haven't really even talked about it. I didn't really expect to see that video to start the show, but
we try to just introduce people to who you are a little bit, because I know I remember seeing that video right away when it happened. I was like, this guy is awesome.
Well, it wasn't. So the first meeting I went to, I wore a mask in there, just because out of respect.
September 2020.
September, okay. Out of respect for him, I wanted to, and then I walk in and nobody has masks on, so they weren't enforcing their own rules. The reason, in my opinion, the reason why they come after me is because they just didn't like what I was saying, and I understand. I never swore at them. I didn't threaten them. Maybe I threw some said shit. I know I told them that I thought their leadership was crap,
Yeah.
And so is all our leadership throughout the country.
So what you're saying is they're very excited to serve with you in the future?
We'll see. I'm not there to cause trouble. That's not what I want to do. Our superintendent is a savvy politician. He's good with money, and people like him for those reasons. Like I said, I'm a sewer cleaner. I get around. I get to talk to educators. I get to talk to the maintenance men and all those people. And anytime anybody has a problem, it's more of a personal problem with him, and they don't like him for a personal reason. And like I said, I talked to him before any of this stuff happened on a personal level. I talked to him on the phone. I talked to him in person, and I didn't have any problem with it as on a personal level. But then they decided to come after me, and I'm not. I don't back down easily. I'm not intimidated by these people, and I shouldn't have to be.
You're pretty tall, aren't you? From that video, you're a pretty intimidating guy.
Well, and I think they were intimidated just by my stature. I'm 6'5", 250 right now. It's 7-8% body fat. I'm in good shape. And so I'm just naturally intimidating, even though if you know me, I'm not that type of a person. I'm not mean. I'll talk to anybody and that stuff. But
I was going to ask if you've ever considered running for sheriff or anything.
No.
You seem like you would be like an intimidating guy that people wouldn't want to mess with.
Well, that's not my goal. I guess it's not what I'm not here to be intimidating. I just kind of am. I got a friend of mine. He said, just looking at me, I'm one of the most intimidating people he's ever met. But after that, I'm just not a mean person. Like when I was playing football, I played a year of football, and one of my problems was I wasn't mean enough. I remember helping people up and saying sorry to people. I wasn't. That's weird. Anyway, so what else? What else do we need to talk about here? Let's get off of that subject. Maybe just what I want to see in the school board.
Yeah, what are your goals if you do get on the school board? I think it's June is when your election is.
June 8th. June 8th is the
okay. So what are like the top 3 things you're gonna do when you get into that school board? Top
3 things, huh?
Eliminate masks. That's one.
I guess I'm trying to steer clear of that, honestly, because when people see me or hear about me, that's actually what they want to talk about. They want to talk to me about this incident if they're even willing to talk to me, and that's not, I guess, my main objective by running for school board. As of right now, we're all throughout the nation. We're so dead set on health of everybody. We got to protect everybody and all these things. Our school systems throughout the United States are gym class is leaving. We're not keeping these kids active like we should. Instead of focusing on actual health of these children, we're focused more on just give them drugs and send them on the way, shut them up. We don't. So a little story. One of my favorite teachers in grade school, I loved her, and 30 years later, I'll try not to out her, but the kid I know, very close to this kid, he has her now, and he's a really, really smart kid, and he's bored in her class, right? And she continually is pushing medication on the parents, right? It's instead of helping this kid excel in certain ways, she just says, "Hey, let's take ADD meds. Let's shut this kid up." Instead of letting the kid excel in the areas that he does excel in. That's just not how it works anymore. And I that's sad to see as a teacher that I loved. Now she's just a bitter old woman. That's what I see of her. And And there's a lot of teachers that are great, and they're just beaten down by the system too. And these kids need a place to expel this energy, and they don't have that anymore. It's just I don't know. I think we should be working more about the health of these kids, teaching them how to eat right, and we could create a culture within that school with teachers that I've known that have. There's one other there again. I know a teacher that has. I see her in the gym. I've seen her over the last few years, how she's lost that weight. That glow in her face is there. She's happier now. And I'm sure her classes are happier too. Because I excelled when I had a great teacher. And we can help these kids excel through lifelong lessons by teaching them just that, how to be healthy and happy. Because that'll solve so much of the COVID problems, right? We know diabetes is killing these people. Obesity is the number one indicator you're going to have issues with it, right next to age. So we could focus on that if we wanted to, right?
Yeah.
But no, shut up and wear a mask. That is our solution to it. And it's a terrible solution, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But the health of these kids. And of course, we got an identity crisis throughout the nation with these kids. And when you look at a child and say, hey, there's something wrong with you, you need medication to be right. I mean, what is that teaching these kids? Is it teaching them to be anything other than feel like there's something wrong with them? Anxiety, depression, all these things are getting worse amongst these kids. And then of course, then this happened. Suicide rates is skyrocketing amongst kids, the overdoses amongst these kids. I mean, those numbers are quantifiable. We can add those up. We can start counting the kids that have died. And throughout the whole COVID thing, they keep saying we're doing this to save this one person. Can anybody name one person we have saved? Just one.
That's a good point. I can't.
I mean, I can start.
I wouldn't know.
I've asked people. We can see their scientific theories there about how we probably have saved this many people. Well, just give me one name. That's all I'm looking for is one name, because the one name that keeps sitting in my head is a Spencer Smith kid. Maybe it's just such an easy name to remember. He's a 16, 17-year-old kid out of Maine, I believe, who they shut down schools. He couldn't play football anymore. He couldn't go to the gym, all these things, and he killed himself. Direct result from this panic driven by politics and a media that pushes their agenda. They do, and back to the leadership and all this stuff. I can't trust anybody in the federal government. I mean, I can't trust our media. I just don't, So, and either side, one, is it a conspiracy or not? The vaccine conspiracy.
Yeah.
I don't know. And that's a problem throughout the whole United States. We don't know anymore. But these people just know better, and they're just going to tell us what to do. And that's that. There's no arguing with them. There's no discussion. There's no dialogue between a school board and the parents, the constituents in Mitchell, South Dakota, small town, small state. We should be able to talk about these things, come to some reasonable conclusions about how the individual, you guys are libertarians, the individual, how we should be able to do this for ourselves. We should be able to make that choice for ourselves. And once a government gets involved to force us to do something, that's a warning sign for me. Like, hold up, this isn't right. This isn't the way America's supposed to be. I shouldn't have to go get a lawyer to fight you for my rights as an American. The right to breathe, the fundamental American right. Right. To take care of my own health, my body, my choice, whatever kind of argument you want to make. There's 1,000 of them out there, and only thing they got is we're going to save one person. Give it to me. Give me that name.
Yeah, they say that same argument for like gun confiscation. Like, if we can save just one life, we need to take every weapon away from every American. It's like,
that's their argument for so many things, and it doesn't save lives because we just know better. But as these media get involved and skew the information and just push their own agenda, we don't know anymore. It becomes that bad. If we actually look at the numbers, we can decide what's going on. I mean, looking throughout the United States back to COVID, we can look at the places like Florida, the numbers there compared to Michigan or California. They're better. They're open. Everything is better about it. Yet the science still tells us to lock down. The science still tells us masks are great. Well, those are, what do they call them? The closed studies where everything's perfect, right? Well, go out in the real world. People don't wash their masks every day. You see the same person wearing the same mask all day, every day. I see people with developmental disabilities, with just snot and dirt on their face. I've seen those people in my communities, and I look at them and I just feel sorry for them as they're working all day with that on. And I've been
everybody I see, they're always like touching their face too to like adjust their mask, and like, isn't that the whole point of the mask, is to keep you from putting your finger in your mouth at all? So I think it might be spreading COVID more, in my opinion. That's just my opinion. I'm not a doctor.
That's so as a sewer cleaner, there's shit everywhere. Okay, there is. I go in people's homes. People are not clean. As a rule of thumb, people aren't very clean. All right. And so let me go to this. There's an old Saturday Night Live skit, if I can remember it correctly. There's two people that went in to a restaurant, and they had these glasses on there called the fecal matter detectors, right? And so they put their glasses on, and it's kind of like a blue light or whatever, and it shows all the fecal all over. And they walk in this restaurant, there's just shit everywhere. And I think it was Chris Farley eating a burger, and it's just fecal matter all over his face, right? And that's the first thing that I go to, because that's true. There's, you can sanitize all you want. You're not going to stop this. You're not going to stop this shit from being everywhere. You can't, no matter how careful you are. And back to the personal decision. Some people, you're going to have to take care of yourself. That's it, man.
I'm not a big scientist either, but there's the other school of thought. Everyone has their own like microbiomes, and they have, on anybody's body and on their skin, we have all these bacteria, and some of them are actually kind of essential to certain functions, to keep us actually healthy. And
absolutely,
I had read an interesting article that was one of the arguments against like genetically modified stuff, is that possibly could be why we have all these like gluten allergies and things like that now, is that it's actually kind of changing how we process these foods. And but yeah, it's all interesting.
The science is ever evolving, isn't it? And medicine and science, I mean, those are just two aspects of it,
Well, if anybody ever wants to tell you to trust the science and that the science is settled, just remember eggs, that they said for decades that they were bad for you, then they were good for you, then they were bad for you again.
Yeah.
And that's science for you.
So peanuts, peanut allergies and the different things like that, I guess. Peanut butter is just one. A friend of mine, a nurse, she's learned that giving her kids peanut butter at a young age will prevent those peanut allergies.
Yeah, I've heard that. Instead
of hiding those kids from them. And back to that bacteria, the good bacteria. There is some good bacteria. Back to the cleaning sewers, a septic tank, right? We need good bacteria to break down the shit within that tank. Now, kind of an old wives' tale about septic tanks is the cleaner the house is, the worse your septic tank is, because all the antibacterial soaps, everything's antibacterial, and it's killing everything they put in there, to where it kills the good bacteria, so it doesn't break down the paper and the shit like it's supposed to, right? And then you got problems with your sewer system. We need that good bacteria to keep us going. If we keep cleaning ourselves to the point where if we get the flu, we're dead because we have no antibiotics. That's true. And we're overlooking that with all this stuff. People are going to get sicker. You're talking about food we eat and all that stuff, and it goes through the system. I'm not going to get into it.
Well, here we'll skip the science crap and we'll get off the math subject. What do you think about? And I don't know a whole lot of details about it, so it's kind of hard to judge it. But Chrissy Noem recently signed some 1776 pledge, or I can't remember the exact name of it, but the headlines were kind of reading that, and it was to fight anti-American indoctrination in our schools. Apparently, she thinks that we're learning too much anti-American stuff in school.
Are you talking about the what is it? Spit it out, Reed.
I think it was like an executive order or something.
Yeah, she signed something that was gonna.
What's the new thing everybody's worried about in education? Come on, dude. I can't believe I can't think of it.
I guess
critical race theory.
Yeah.
Race theory. A lot of these governors, quite a few of them are implementing new legislation to prevent. There again, a new theory to come into our schools to educate our kids. The ever evolving theory of education. I mean, it's teaching a different history to promote their agenda, a certain agenda. And I know there's quite a few states that are trying to stop that. And there again, that's one of the things that I want to do is stop some of the BS from coming into our schools. It's constantly changing education that creates a division between parents and kids, because I don't know what my kids are learning anymore, and when you ask them about certain historical events or something they don't know about, it's like, well, doesn't everybody know? And I can't bring any specific examples up, but that's kind of the way it's getting with our kids. They're not learning the same. They have all the information in the world in the palm of their hands, and our kids here in America, we want to be influencers on YouTube. Chinese kids want to be astronauts. They're teaching their kids better. That's it. And in this economy of ours, I guess don't get me started where the inflation is going to skyrocket. You know what? It's coming.
Yeah.
And that fake economy where everybody's getting paid to just do this shit right here.
We don't get paid. We don't get paid yet, but we would like to.
Yeah, I'm sure you would. Maybe, hopefully sooner or later you will. But I mean, there's so many people that are getting paid from maybe just having a stupid viral video, and then they start running their mouth, and people start listening to them. Whatever. I've seen it happen. People actually get paid for just talking, and what does that actually produce? Sooner or later, it'll crash. I just assume it probably will. Maybe not. Maybe we can go on forever not really producing much. But
right.
I mean, we can see people don't want to work like they used to. That work ethic is going downhill. I mean, I see it in so many industries right now with all this money out there in the unemployment area. People are just willing to sit back and just collect it. They're happy. Fat and happy Americans, right? We are. So anyway.
Yeah.
So back to school. Okay, go ahead.
I've got a libertarian question for you. What are your thoughts, if I don't know if you have any, on like homeschooling or privatized schooling compared to public schooling?
Okay, going back to my own experiences. So my kid went through 5th grade in the public school. Let me jump back.
Okay.
My oldest son growing up, we struggled to get him into a good daycare. We finally found one, and as he had issues in his first daycare where they would just sit him in front of a TV, he fought back against the teachers. He didn't, he's a little bit of in trouble here and there as a year and a half old. We got him into a new school where they didn't have a TV, where they started teaching him. Night and day difference. We didn't have any trouble. No behavioral problems after the teachers that started interacting with him in a positive way. Then he went through the public school system, and like I said, back to Common Core and things like that. I wasn't happy with that, and he never had great grades, but he never had behavioral issues after Now my youngest son, same thing. That school that my older son went to, they ended up closing down. It was funded by the college here in Mitchell, and of course, it's all about the kids until it comes to money, and they took that money away from them and put it somewhere else. And so they closed the daycare down. And so we looked for a new place. We ended up going to the Mitchell Christian School for my youngest son, and that was even better yet. And my youngest son is smart, and he's great with everything. The culture of that school is just great. They let him excel. You know, they're not holding him all to a certain standard. He's smarter than the other kids. They allow him to be smart, and they work, and he gets to work with the other smarter kids in the class, and they excel together. You know, and then it's a good atmosphere for him. So my oldest son, I took a gamble and put him in the Christian school in 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, because I wanted him to be better academically. Well, it didn't work, but at the same time, engrossing him in that culture, he became more outgoing. He just, there again, no behavior problems ever. He wasn't great in math, and as I continued to not fight with his teachers, but talk to his teachers and try to get him to do better, I worked my ass off. The superintendent of that school said to me as I was talking to him one day, he said, "You know what? He doesn't have any behavioral problems, so you should be happy for that." And I think he was in the 7th grade at that time. And at that time, it's like, you're right. I got to get myself out of it, and he'll do what he does. Okay. The more I push him and try to fight him to do good, it doesn't work. It just never worked. Another thing with getting him out of the public schools was I heard a lot of meth was going on in middle school, and I don't want him to become a meth head. I don't want him to hang out with us. Right. And that's when when I was in middle school, I started getting in trouble. That's when I started. We don't need to get into my criminal history, but I started getting myself in trouble in that middle school era. So I kind of wanted to keep him out of there, and I was happy I did it. But this year, he's a freshman in high school. I brought him back to the public school system because he can fail a public school just as easily as he can fail an expensive school. Not that he's failing, but you get my drift. And our public school has a ton of opportunities as far as the technical trades and getting him into different, hands-on workshop type classes that he does better at, and then that's where he should be, I guess. The world needs ditch diggers too. Where my other son, he's grown up in the Christian school culture, and he excels in there. My son, he does good in high school. And as a freshman, I didn't want to see him get opportunities taken away because I love school. My oldest son is just like me. He just didn't give a shit about school. Academically, but I loved going to school. I enjoyed seeing my friends. I enjoyed meeting the kids and interacting with the kids. And by putting this barrier over these kids, making them walk around with a bunch of blank faces, I think that's doing a lot of emotional damage more than anything else. It's taking away these life experience from these kids that we don't need to take away. It's taking away, what is it? 80% of communication is nonverbal. I was at a restaurant the other day with my family, and my son looks over and he's like, "I think that's my English teacher." School's almost out for the year. He said, "I think that's my English teacher." And I said, "Well, what do you mean? You don't know who your teacher is?" And he's like, "Well, I've never seen her without a mask."
Oh man, that'd be crazy.
Disgusting. He doesn't even know who his teacher is. Yeah. Did she know that was him? She gave me a funny look, so she probably did. But that's disgusting to me. That these kids can't interact with the other kids in the school, and it just disgusts me that this is what they're continuing to do to kids, to little kids, little kindergarten kids. These kids are going to be traumatized from this for a long time. There's kids that aren't going to take these masks off regardless of what Fauci says. Fauci comes out and says, "Okay, everything's great. We can take our masks off." Kids are going to wear these some of them wear them for the rest of their life. Some people will.
Yeah.
You know, they're doing damage to the culture. You see all the riots and I mean, you put a bunch of masks on people. If I had a mask on when I was a kid, I'd be getting in trouble. Guarantee it. And these people are getting away with stuff that is that a part of the crime, the rise in crime throughout America? I think it could have an effect on it. If everybody's face is covered, you can get away with some shit.
Yeah. Well,
I would have. I know I would have.
Yeah, we saw it with the social unrest that happened in 2020 as well. Everybody was wearing masks and burning down stuff. You can't tell who it was.
The only idiots that didn't were the ones in Washington. They should have had their masks on. Whatever. Anyway.
We got some comments here. We got Kenny Strand says, "You will be an excellent school board member, Reed. Just wish I could vote for you from Iowa. Good luck, sir." We've got a question from Terry Jane Bender. "Why are you running for school board?"
Why?
I think you could basically been answering that question this whole episode. I mean,
yeah, she asked you the toughest one.
Yeah, right. Basically that I want to keep the atmosphere we have. I don't want. We got our public school system has the tech school here in Mitchell, and we're pushing these kids into the tech school. I think they're taking some of these college kids and bringing them down to tech instead of bringing the bottom kids up to the tech school. I think that we need to raise the bottom kids up. That's what I'd like. I love the tech school. The tech school is doing awesome here in Mitchell. I mean, it's one of the best in the state. I mean, I'm in Watertown, I think, and maybe even the nation, as far as pumping out some good kids this is what they need to learn. I'm all about tech school. Mike Rowe would be proud, I would think.
I was just going to say, Mike Rowe always pushes that recently.
Absolutely. And I think we need to keep that going. And so, I mean, there's not, like I said, there's not a ton I can say terrible about our school, except for the personality of the people in charge. That's it. Just them. A couple other, I mentioned health as one thing. I think you asked for three. The second thing is everything's going online, right? And our teachers are not good at teaching online. There's so many brilliant people out there that we can bring into these kids' lives, mathematicians or scientists or whatever. They can bring them instead of these teachers teaching it. There's smarter people that can teach it. And these educators need to find ways to do that, because this is as much as I hate all these kids just being on screens all day, that's a way we can better our school system, is by having our teachers be better at that, educating through this online crap. Okay, even though I hate it, we need to get better at it. The third thing is I've got a couple friends and a couple teachers that I know that have pointed out to me the deficiencies in our what the heck?
This happens all the time when we do podcasts. You have like brain farts and you can't remember what you're just about to say.
Special ed, just the special ed kids. They need help. We need more parents or more teachers. They're struggling. They don't have the resources they need to educate these kids. Well, I mean, and it's hard to educate those kids, but I mean, it just needs to be better. Those are probably my top three. Just trying to create a culture within our school of the basic, taking care of our own health, right? Teaching these kids. There's a couple of teachers that talked about how the children are influencing how their parents wear masks, right? The kids wearing masks all day so that, we're all doing better and the parents are even listening now and all this stuff. Well, they could do that with health too. These kids, we could create a culture within our school systems that promote the health of these kids, and these kids can bring it home, and we can have a better community. That's it. Happier, healthier community. I mean, those healthier kids are just better citizens, more productive members of our society instead of drug addicts. The computer stuff and the I've lost my thought again. Sorry.
It's all good. We got another question from Melissa Sigmund. She asked, how important do you think parents' input is?
Well, that's the main thing that I think our school board neglected throughout this whole process. They didn't take any parents' opinion into account when they're making their decisions. Now, I understand they get a bunch of emails from people.
Yeah.
They get a bunch of emails saying, "Oh, you're doing great. You're saving my son or my grandma. Or, we're saving everybody." Well, there was a lot of parents that were willing to risk whatever they were willing to risk by going to their face and talking to them, because they will. There's repercussions to that. They seem to like to come after you. They did to me, and I've heard the stories of them coming after other people, outspoken people that lose the ability to be a substitute teacher. I've known a couple of those people just because they spoke out, and then the superintendent of the board or whoever it was in these upper positions, whether it's even principals or whatever, they retaliate against these people. They lose the ability to substitute in a time where we needed them more than ever. That parent input is important, and people are scared to say anything.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. They're afraid to do it. I didn't want to do it the first time I came in. Absolutely not, because like I said, I do work for the school system quite a bit. Mm-hmm. And I was worried about them taking it away, but when it came down to it, you know what? I'm the only one that cleans sewers in this town. So what are you going to do? Your sewer's backing up. Who are you going to call? And I've worked for quite a few, several of these. I've worked for a bunch of the school board members and the school board or the school system, and even some of the city council members. And I went to some city council meetings as well. And I've worked for them afterwards too. Even though we have our differences, that doesn't mean we have to hate each other and we want to destroy each other. That's not my purpose in running for school board. I do want the best for my kids and all these kids, and taking that parent input helps us, should help a board members decide the best course of action moving forward. It should, shouldn't it? I mean,
yeah,
I think it should anyway, but it doesn't. They just know better because they're smarter than us all. They're more educated. I'll tell you a couple of things. The very first meeting I went to, one of the things that irritated me the most, the superintendent told me that his opinion as a doctor of education outweighs that of my medical doctor.
That's crazy. Yeah, there's another quote I read where one of the people on the Mitchell School Board said, even if 75% of the parents decided not to have students wear masks, I would still vote to make them wear masks.
Yep.
And I was kind of shocked by that. I was like, whoa.
Yep, that's a direct quote. I'll leave it at that. There was another guy, a different individual on the board said the parents came and said we just want a survey. We want you to survey the parents, right?
Yeah.
To actually come to some conclusions on what we want to do, and if we'll stand by that. If 75% of the parents want masks, okay, but at least we have some closure, maybe. But after we asked for that, first off, one board member already had her speech pre-written to tell us no. So that right there tells us that she had absolutely zero intention of listening to anybody. And then another one of the board members said, I don't care what a survey said, I'm going to vote this way anyway. That's it. So that tells you what kind of people they are. They don't work for the people that voted them in. They don't care what you say back to them, just thinking they know better. They're educated. They're doctors of education. Dr. Jill. Dr. Jill. Anyway, so.
Yeah, a lot of this reminds me, like back when I was in high school, there's a bunch of school shootings, and they said that we all had to wear ID badges around our necks, and that was to protect us from school shootings. And if you didn't wear an ID badge, you went to detention. And I was in detention a lot because I forgot my ID badge. So I think it's counterproductive. The mask situation is also counterproductive in the same way that was back then. It seems like they're repeating the same kind of thing where they're trying to like force students to like learn how to comply with like stupid things that don't really help.
It's more about complying,
yeah,
than anything else. That's it. You have to comply or else, and then they use fear as a tactic. The whole time we're going through this, and every meeting I went to, they used fear. If we don't do this, we're going to shut school down. If we don't do this, we're going to take sports away. We're not going to let you have football, or all these things. And that's not how I don't think that's how a school board should interact with parents. It's threatening them in so many different ways. And that's what they continue to do to us throughout the whole time, just threaten, do this, and then threaten to call the cops sooner or later, whatever.
Yeah. Kenny Strand says, do you feel administrators are powerless over the superintendent? I feel as an employee of the Sioux City School District, our superintendent controls our principals like puppets. What can you do to give principals more power?
Decentralization.
Decentralization. Yeah, good point. Our school system has been run by the same superintendent for about 20 years now. He has a lot of influence in our school system, and I think that's probably universal with all school systems. It just depends on the individual. Like I said, this particular all the problems that I hear in our school system comes just from this guy's bad personality.
So our superintendents, they're not elected.
They serve at the for the board.
So the board can fire a superintendent?
Yes, they can. So,
well, at least there's some kind of accountability, because a lot of times with government, you see, especially on the federal level, these unelected bureaucrats, like with the menthol ban and stuff like that. It's like these people that didn't even get elected to office somehow get to just change the rules for everybody.
Well,
and we can't do nothing,
Well, that's my fear of the way our school system's going. I mean, back to culture, or politics is downstream from culture. And this culture continues to infest our politics, and then it gets into the bureaucrats' hands, and they decide to make some new rule in the Department of Education, some people that are smarter than us, and then they wave some grant money in front of these school systems, and then the school systems here in Mitchell, end up taking that grant money and implementing some new rule, whatever that may be. And that's just the way it works, isn't it? These bureaucrats have the power to do this stuff. And like I said, our superintendent's really good with money, and he gets a lot of grant money for different things, and just to do this stuff. And I don't think it's always in the best interest of our children.
Yeah.
And I don't know all the ins and outs of all this stuff. I'm not even close to knowing it. But some firsthand experience would help me out. I'd like to see it.
Yeah.
I'd like to see where this money's going, where it's coming from, and if there's better places to spend it. I mean, I know we can do better. I think we can. Maybe not. We'll see, I guess. So
I got one last comment from Terry Bender. She says, not only are they afraid to speak to the school board, they also know their voice won't be heard. Y'all, I think Reed's been talking about that a lot in Mitchell. But yeah, it looks like that hour is up. Do you have anything you want to plug, or Reed, or anything, final thoughts that you want to say?
I guess I'm running for school board. And
vote for Reed. June 8th, right?
8th. Yeah. Yep. Our school system or our district covers part of a couple different counties, Davison County and Hanson County. A lot of people don't know that if they're in the school district that they can vote for this. They think they have to be in a certain ward or something like that. Well, these are two open seats. The two people that occupied these seats left, so they're no longer running. There's 6 people running now. I'm one of 6, and just hopefully it turns out good. I mean, hopefully we get some good. If I'm not in there, there's several other very good people, qualified people that have the best interests of our children at heart, I believe. So just vote June 8th. That's about it.
How many years does that position serve?
3.
3. All right.
Yep. So
Well, we'll have to have you come back on when you're a school board member when one of those 3 years.
thanks maybe I'll learn a little bit more and we have some more insightful comments to make for it. So, all right.
Yeah, you can come back on and tell us all the ways that the system's corrupt and all the things you found.
Don't get me started,
Ashley Hexner says, get elected and let us get into sporting events again.
That's another thing. I'd love. I think our current administration in our school, they neglect our sports. They promote the musicals and whatever that is, our show choir things, which we do great in show choir, by the way, and I think we should promote that stuff, but not as we neglect our sports haven't been neglected for a long time. Mitchell used to be a powerhouse in basketball for many years. Shout out to Munson, great, love that man. We got a great wrestling coach right now that these kids love. All right. Our football program has done good in the last few years, and I think we can continue to do better. We promote those better. And that's another thing with what she just said. We haven't been able to get into the stands and scream and yell and encourage these kids to go, work harder and look at our national sporting events. They're pathetic, aren't they?
Did you
play hard? Whatever.
Did the city of Mitchell, did the city council do anything? Like, did they do a mask mandate or anything like that?
They did. Yeah, they did. They did. The council voted it in. I think we had 60 days, and then they ended up getting rid of it. So because they noticed it didn't do anything.
Yeah.
It didn't change the numbers. And I think we can see that throughout the United States. It hasn't helped. It hasn't made that much of an impact, but it has had a negative impact in so many different ways. But like I said, again, Mitchell, South Dakota, we're doing amazing. South Dakota in general, Chrissy Nolan has done pretty good overall until there again, she votes against the people. But that's people in power just thinking they know better. We vote for these things and they just think they know better and they're going to take us to court. And for us to fight back as parents, we got to take them to court. We got to come up with 10, 20 grand just to start a lawsuit.
Yeah.
And that's not the way America's supposed to work.
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of unconstitutional laws for sure that get enforced. And, that's all it would take. It's like, sure, if everyone had a bunch of money, to fight these things, then sure, we could have them thrown out. But it takes you getting arrested and it takes you filing the lawsuit and spending thousands of dollars in a couple years to get a ruling.
Yep. It takes a lot of time. I ended up getting arrested. I got some charges against me. They brought it to a grand jury. I had 4 charges brought against me. The grand jury indicted me on 1 charge, and I'll be fighting that. I'll be going to court. They even tried to take away my jury trial with some loophole they wanted to get through.
Wow.
But I ended up, my lawyer's good, and we're going to end up having a jury trial probably August sometime, maybe end of July, early August, if I'm lucky. But I'm not going to hold my breath, right? So I know the way the court system works, and it's slow.
Are they is your charge a misdemeanor or is it more serious?
Yeah, obstruction of law enforcement, which you can get for anything. And in my opinion, they assaulted me. There was no mask mandate at the time, no state, no local mandate. This was a public meeting, and it is my obligation as an American citizen to come to that meeting, right?
Yeah.
And they brought the cops in there and they assaulted me because they had no right to touch me.
It looked like,
and that's my lawyer's opinion too. So
yeah,
but I don't want to.
Yeah,
I don't want to be one of those assholes.
It looked like you were 6 feet away from everybody, and that's what they're all saying. If you're 6 feet away from them, that you're okay.
The rules are incoherent at best. I mean, I went to all the meetings. They're constantly changing rules. They're incoherent. You can't follow all the rules. You just can't. So that's it.
We got one comment here from Alyssa Sigmund. We also need fairness between sports and the arts. They can play sports without masks. Must wear a mask to sing in chorus. I didn't even know they had to wear a mask to sing in chorus. That doesn't make any sense at all. Do you have to wear masks to play trombone?
They got these little zipper.
I seen those, but I thought it was a joke. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not a joke. You see some video where the kids were in bubbles playing their instruments. Happen to see that video? Disgusting, isn't it? Let these kids have a life.
Yeah.
Kids. We're always saving the kids. We're always destroying these kids more and more. It disgusts me to the point where I wasn't going to back down. I'm still not. I'm going to go fight the right way, I guess. So.
I hope you win. Yeah, somebody's got to do it. I hope you win your election. We really appreciate you coming on, talking with us. You've been a great guest, and we hope to have you on again when you're elected on the school board in Mitchell. And I hope you have a great night.
All right. Well, Greg, thanks for reaching out to me because I haven't done any interviews or anything. I had the opportunity to, but I like libertarians. If I had to be in a party, that might be the one I would lean to. Right now I'm an independent, but whatever.
Well, I tell you what, I ran for state office twice. I ran in 2018 and I ran in 2020. And we just started doing the podcast 6 months ago. But one thing I'm really excited about, you're actually the first candidate actively running we've interviewed. But I'm excited about that, come next year when people are running for the state, we can interview them. And then if you have supporters or you have whatever, and you're like, hey, I want to hear more about you, you can just send them the link and you can just say, hey, go to YouTube, check out this interview I did, so I'm excited about that. And wish you the best and hopefully you get elected.
All right. Appreciate it, guys.
Thank you.
See you,
Thank you so much. Take care.
All right, our next guest, I guess this is going to be more like a roundtable thing. We'll probably both ask each other questions. We got Harrison Kemp, David Fight. How are you guys doing? This is the administrators of Free Speech Media.
What's going on, gentlemen?
What's going on, guys?
Good. How are you guys doing? Hey. Where's Roger at? Is Roger going to be late or is he not coming?
He might be able to make it. He's got something going on with his kids, so hopefully he makes it. We'll see.
All right, I need 1 minute. I'll be back.
Damn it, Greg. I needed a minute. It's all good.
Well, if you guys want to take a minute, David and I can plug some shit while you take a minute.
Yeah, plug some stuff. I'm going to be right back.
So right now, FSM is getting ready to head down to the Libertarian Party of Pennsylvania convention and do a big documentary on what's going on down there. It's going to be called The Battle for Pittsburgh. Everybody is watching to see what is going on right now and who's going to win the state. Is the takeover going to happen? Is it not? So we're going to bring you the behind the scenes coverage. We've got Prags, we've got Mises Caucus, and we've got LibSox, along with an uncaucused guy, all going down. So we can get you the real emotions, the real behind the scenes biased coverage, but biased on every single side. So we're going to bring you the real behind the scenes truth. So if you want to help support that, go into the comment section on Facebook, and you can find that at facebook.com/free speech media. Right in there, you can check out the Cash App and the GoFundMe. Make sure you donate to that. We really appreciate it. My name's Harrison Kemp. You can find me at harrisonkemp.com. David Fight, say words now.
Yeah, so I'm super stoked for the LPPA convention. So like there's gonna be a bunch of people there covering like all the nitty-gritty bullshit, and then I'm gonna be there covering all the sex, drugs, and alcohol. So it should be a full circle reporting.
I love your background. Is that like a painting behind you, or David? That New York scene behind you, is that a window
it's a green screen?
Green screen? Oh, damn.
Yeah, I thought it was a window the longest time. I was like, damn, this dude lives the life.
Yeah, he's got a penthouse suite up here in New York.
Then you come to find out, no, he's living in his mom's basement like every other libertarian.
I'm actually in a shoe store in the middle of Brooklyn right now. and using the owner of said shoe store green screen.
Nice.
So
Nice.
yeah, it was the background for a few videos. It doesn't really look great from the angles. That is comfy to sit on this nice leather couch that they have in the shoe store. So
I'll just say that, hey, let's try not to make fun of people
doing the green
living in
screen.
their mom's basement. That's just fiscally responsible.
And our core demographic.
So what was the
right. We
inspiration?
also can't insult like most of our viewers.
Right.
Right?
Always a
The
bad
fact
business.
that they live in the basement means that they can donate.
That's true. They're saving all that rent money. So, you're saving $500 to $750 a month. You can afford to donate $100 right now. Right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hit up
Right now.
hit up Free Speech Media with your Biden bucks, everybody.
That's right. Those
So
Biden
what was
bucks,
it?
they're
Yeah,
important.
what was the inspiration behind forming Free Speech Media, Harrison?
Well, Roger and I had independently already been working in media, doing podcasts. I was blogging and writing books and whatnot. And he had some podcasts he had done. It had always kind of been a dream of both of ours to start something like a news company that was libertarian, that was going to go out and cover stuff and get podcasters and things like that. So it was one of those things we both independently wanted to do. We made a good team. We lived close by. We know each other. We were like, let's do it. So on January 29th of this year, we officially formed Free Speech Media. And then as it's progressed, we've brought on more and more content creators. We've brought on more and more people who, aside from just doing the content, like Tony does killer graphic design work. He does killer video editing. He's made our commercial, which he's updating right now because, like I said, we've been updating our content creators. So we have new people to add to that commercial already. And, Bill has made us some killer VIP, or not VIP, but press passes for when we go down to PA. So we look all official. Everybody's got all these skills that they're bringing in. And that's kind of the goal. It's a capitalist commune is the way I like to explain it to people, where everybody pitches in, but we're all working to better the group. Like there is no real payoff for anyone outside of how much work they put into it. So, it was one of those things where we wanted to do it for so long that we just finally decided we were comfortable enough. We had enough contacts. Let's do it.
Yeah, Greg and I think it's a great idea because then you get all these libertarians from all these different states. I know we focus on South Dakota a lot, and then I'm sure we got people from New York focusing on New York and Maine focusing on Maine. And you bring them all together on one network, and you get like all the news from all the states right there in one place.
Well, and that's what's really cool is we have content creators from all across the country. Most of us are in different states. So with the 17 shows we have, we cover like 15 states. It's a lot.
Yeah.
It's really cool, especially when convention times come around.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was one thing, when Devin kind of first approached me, he was wanting to do a podcast for a while. And I was pretty hesitant about it. I never really wanted to be in the public so much. But I was kind of hesitant about it because, the libertarian podcast model has kind of been done to death.
Yes.
And so I didn't really want to do just that again. So I think we've kind of done a little more focus on local issues, local people. So that's kind of our niche market. We do still have national people on from time to time, of course, but some of the local shows we've done have done the best for us.
Well, and that's really cool too, because let's say someone's watching your show and then they see the next show is coming on. They're like, oh, I might as well stay here. What's the difference between watching this and watching television? You stay from one show to the next. So I think especially once we get even more creators and we're full 24 hours a day, that's what everybody's really going to start noticing it, is because there's always going to be somebody watching with that much content on that it's just going to naturally bleed into the next show. And also too, a lot of the guys and ladies that we have on our program now, I had never heard of before we started going out searching for these podcasters who are less known but doing great content under the radar. And that was kind of how I found you guys. Is you're doing good content under the radar. No one's giving you the props you deserve. Well, let's see if we can help, bring you a little bit more audience, bring you a little bit more of a cash flow here. And I don't know how much of either one of those have happened yet, but theoretically, both.
Well, we've got enough to make it to Freedom Fest this in Rapid City to pay for our media passes. So hopefully, people with media passes get to be up front when people are going up on stage or leaving stage. We can get some interviews with. I forgot who all is going to be at Freedom Fest. I know it's Jorgensen, Amash. I think
list.
Who's the Macy's presidential candidate guy again? I forgot his name. Dave Smith.
Yeah.
I think he's going to be there too.
Tom Woods.
Tom Woods. Yeah.
JP Sears.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, the comedian. Yeah. So yeah, if we can get up close with them, we're definitely going to try to get some interviews.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited about that because I was following following Freedom Fest for the last few years that they've been in Vegas, and they just get a whole lot of big names, So once I heard they were coming to South Dakota, I was like, hell yeah! And then I was a little leery. I was kind of, do we qualify as media? But they gave us the media. They gave us the media passes, and they said in June they're supposed to give us a list of all the speakers that are interested in like pre-convention interviews and stuff. So if we can pass on that list to you guys too, and hopefully it's got some of those big names on it that they're interested in doing those interviews.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, I think who's the only person who's got
credentials are in the eye of the beholder.
Yeah,
yes,
exactly.
I mean, think about it. You work for a national media organization. When you pitch it that way, be like, well, I'm a reporter for a national media organization. Of course I qualify as media. They don't have to know you're a podcaster. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't think they answered right away, didn't they, Greg? Like, sent you an email back right away, like, yeah, for definitely. Here's a list of names that we want you to interview. And
yeah, they basically want us to try to sell tickets. So go to Freedom Fest. No, we got I believe I got to check our email, but I believe on the 30th of this month we have the wife of the founder of Freedom Fest, but she's in charge of during Freedom Fest they have a film festival. It's like a libertarian film festival, and she's in charge of that. And so she's going to come on the show and tell us all about all the different films that are going to be shown at that film festival. It should be pretty cool.
Maybe we can sneak the Battle for Pittsburgh in.
Is that one you did or what?
Well, that's what we're going to be calling the documentary we're making about the Pennsylvania convention, the Battle for Pittsburgh.
Nice.
Yeah.
So what's the lowdown there? I'm like, we're from South Dakota, so we don't get very much details on what's going on the East Coast, but apparently there's a convention in Pennsylvania and there's a Mises Caucus event. Is that happening at the same time, or is it just one that's going to be right after the other one or something?
Basically,
it's one right after the
overlap.
Other.
Yeah.
There's
is it like in the same general area, or is it like a 15-minute drive to the next one, or how's that work?
I think they're like 15 minutes apart. They're right down the street, not far.
Okay.
But there's like an hour overlap. I don't know if it's both nights or only one, but it overlaps with like one of their speakers and then the social. So I understand why people, especially the people who organize the event, are like, hey, that's a dick thing to do. But I really want to go to the event. So I'm like, you know what? I want to go see those guys.
I think in my opinion, like the guest speakers are pretty good. We would have been glad to have any of those Mises Caucus guest speakers in South Dakota. We had Karen Ann Harless. She was pretty good though. And we had Christopher Thrasher, but it's hard to get people to come up to South Dakota because we're so out in the middle of nowhere that
is Thrasher coming to PA? Is that a thing?
I don't know. He came to South Dakota, so he was like one of our keynote speakers.
He's moving back
South Dakota.
east, he said. So.
Well, I'll tell you what, when your convention comes around, get a hold of me. If you pay for my board and travel, I'll come speak.
See, that's the problem. We've got a lot of people that are willing to do that.
Right.
That's why that's why we kind of try to pick people that are from like maybe like a state or two away. And it's like, hey, that way, then all we really do is we'll, pay for like their hotel room for the night or something like that, but.
Look, we brought Spike in over Zoom. So he came in on Zoom for like 10 minutes and spoke, and it would have been a complete waste of money to bring him up. We had 20 people in our convention.
Yeah.
So it was cool that he came over Zoom though. He couldn't see the crowd.
One of my favorite people, and I wish we could have him come speak, but like you just said, would be Larry Sharp. But, we live in South Dakota, and we probably wouldn't get a whole lot of a bump as far as like people that show up because Larry Sharp was going to be there, even though I would personally, I would love it. But
yeah, we really don't have any big name libertarians that live near me other than Dave Smith and Bob Murphy, and they're still 8 to 10 hours plus away. Bob's in Massachusetts and Dave's in New Jersey, so that's still plenty of time away. But it would draw some people. I mean, I think Dave would have a much bigger draw than Bob, just because Bob's kind of a nerd. He gets nerds like myself. Dave gets a lot more people. It's a culture thing versus people are more interested in culture than they are in learning sometimes, I think. So if they can learn through culture, that's what they prefer.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I saw Dave Smith on Joe Rogan. I was like, God damn, this guy got on Joe Rogan. Like, man, that's what everyone was complaining about with Jorgensen. It's like Jorgensen can't get in any attention like Rogan or anything.
Well, and then he insulted her anyways because right after the election, he's like, I voted for Joe Jorgensen. It's like, well, thanks for the vote, douche. Like, you could have had her on your show, Could have.
I wonder if he didn't have her on because I don't know. She doesn't seem like a talkative person. I don't know. She doesn't seem like.
You guys want to know something spicy?
Yeah. Let's hear some spicy stuff.
She turned down the interview.
What? Sorry, I gotta go.
I don't know if that's true or not.
Well, I don't know about that, but what I do know is that he invited Spike on.
He invited who?
Spike. He invited Spike? Is that what you said?
He invited Spike.
Well, then how come Spike?
Joe Jorgensen threw a fit. Because Joe Jorgensen threw a fit.
Oh my God. It's because he wanted to be on or something? Dude, okay. So here's how I see it. Like, if you're Joe Rogan, you want somebody who's talkative.
Bullshit. So much petty bullshit from both sides. That entire fucking campaign was a clusterfuck. I hate it all.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's probably where the rumor that Joe turned the interview down came from. Is she had told Spike's team to turn the interview down.
Probably.
That I get that now. I think that's
feel like if that was I feel like if that was more true though, wouldn't he have been on the show since then though? Well, like Spike's still doing podcasts. I mean, he's not running for president, but you could still be like, hey, the former vice presidential candidate, I don't know.
Maybe. Joe Rogan's like the top podcast in America or something, Greg.
That dude has.
You got to be running for something.
That dude has some lame guests on his show, and still talks to him for 4 hours.
Pretty weird guests on.
Yeah.
He also had Dave Smith on. That was Dave's, I think, 4th appearance or 5th.
This is 5th or 6th. Yeah, he's been on there a lot. I mean, they're friends from comedy, so they've been hanging out for years.
Mm-hmm.
How did you guys come together? Just because you're the meme team for South Dakota?
I see. Greg asked me because I was I was an anarchist and I wasn't very libertarian. And then Greg's like, hey, do you want to moderate our debate? Because you'd be a good, outsider moderator who doesn't, picking, I don't know, what's the word I'm thinking of? Like biased or anything. So I came in to moderate the 2018 governor debate between CJ Abernathy and Steve Novotny. and then I was pretty happy. Yeah, I was pretty happy with what I was hearing from CJ. I wasn't very happy from what I was hearing from Steve Novotny. So I figured, hey, this party is pretty much teetering on like super light republicanism versus actual, ANCAP libertarian style government. So I was like, I'm going to register for this party and help push it to ANCAP, help push it to the anarchist spectrum. And then Greg and I started hanging out a lot more, and we'd have like hour or two long conversations on my couch about politics and stuff. And I was like, yo, Greg, why don't we just record ourselves talking like we are now and then make a podcast, and we can be a libertarian podcast. And then eventually it ended up doing it. And there we are 6 months later, running Hedgehog Watchdog, crushing it. There's also two blogs in South Dakota. There's Dakota War College, they're the Republican blog, and you got Dakota Free Press, they're the Democrat blog. So it's like, we need a libertarian blog, and we're going to be that blog. That's how we started as a blog. Website for news. We'd write like news articles and stuff like with a libertarian spin instead of just hearing what the Democrats and Republicans think about everything.
Greg, you're a chair out there, right?
Yeah,
so you're chair. Devin, you're communications director, right? Something like that. Yeah.
So if you got any problems with our messaging, that's
we're the guys. Yeah, Greg and I actually ran against each other for chair about a month ago. That was pretty fun.
Yeah, a lot of hard
I ended up winning the plurality vote by 2. But then we do ranked choice voting. So apparently Greg's the least hated number 2 pick. And he got all those votes from our third person that was running against us. And he ended up beating me by 2 votes. So congratulations, Greg. You got it.
Such a convoluted system.
Yeah. I don't know if I like ranked choice voting.
Congrats to you both.
What's that? Oops.
Props to you guys for actually using alternative voting systems within the party, instead of being like super hypocritical people arguing for alternative voting and then using bullshit first past the post for everything.
We've actually never had to use it before.
Like, the rest of the LP.
Because usually we don't have enough people running for any particular office. So it was kind of interesting. We actually had somebody, ranked choice voting's just getting started up here in South Dakota. There's a group that wants to petition this year and put it on the ballot. And so we had somebody from their organization come and give a presentation on, the ins and outs of what ranked choice voting is. And so we actually stopped right before the chair's election, and we were like, hey, let's go ahead and bring this guy on stage and give everyone a refresher on what ranked choice voting is. Because like I say, even though we have it, we've never actually had to use it. You're in Maine though. You have ranked choice voting. How we got a meeting to possibly endorse it. How does that? What are your thoughts?
I don't care for ranked choice voting. I know a lot of libertarians do. Get out of my name there. I know a lot of libertarians are really big fans of ranked choice voting. I don't know enough about it. I don't understand it enough to say I like it. Yeah. I think it's a very complicated system for no reason. I understand that it helps libertarians, helps our party, helps other minority parties, but I don't know enough about it. It seems way too complicated to me. And it's produced some weird results here. So
if we didn't have ranked choice voting, I'd be the chair right now, but whatever. I think the thing it does is it makes like the person who's like not hated by people the most the winner if they're number 2. I think that's like basically the big catch.
Well, and to be honest, I'm an anarchist. I don't like the idea of voting to begin with. So the fact that we're using this system to decide who has this much power over our lives, I think is flawed. Not in like the LP sense, but in the government sense. The LP is a consensual organization. Everybody's here by choice. But yeah, I don't know. I don't really know enough about it.
You might tell them that to the members.
You'd think that they would realize it, since our whole thing is like freedom of association, self-ownership. They'd realize if they don't like it, they can just fucking leave and go start their own thing. Like, I mean, it's not like the LP is that much further ahead than anything anyone could go start today. You know.
We got a comment here. It says Scott Baldwin says he fired his brother twice. I don't know what that's referring to.
I think he's
Is that
talking
somebody
about
you
me.
know, Greg?
Yeah, no, I think he's talking about me. That was my brother. Actually, my first job with the party was because of him. He actually, no, I didn't fire him. He resigned, and I took over for him. and then this year, we actually did eliminate his job. So
Yeah,
maybe
well, that's
he's
because
bitter.
we had like 3 at-large members, and we were kind of just like, what the hell is the point of an at-large member? You know, they don't really have any responsibilities. So they just show up and vote, and it was just kind of like everyone was kind of like, we don't like. First of all, they didn't show up to vote anyways, and second of all, it was like, if you're not busting your ass at like some kind of aspect of helping the party, like at least an hour a week, I don't know, something. It's a little bit of time. It's kind of like, why are you even voting, and why do we have to wait for a quorum for you to show up? It's kind of slowing everything down.
Yeah, we had too many people on the X.
I know that
and
national
half
parties
of them
got
didn't show up, and then
Yeah.
you'd have something to vote on, and it's like we can't actually conduct business because a third of the people did not show up, and we need those people to vote. So it just kind of we trimmed down. We trimmed down. You know, unfortunately, he was caught up in the crossfire of that shit.
Sometimes it's important to realize when you've expanded too big too quickly. You know, if you've got too many people on the team, then and there's not enough like foot soldiers to make shit happen, then the team is just managers, and managers don't do shit. So you need the foot soldiers. So like what we did here in Maine, because we have at large, but we don't have district reps. So we've basically turned our at large into district reps, where they each have like a third of the state, and that way. Yeah, it works. I mean, they're most active that way, working with the counties and getting shit done. So when you guys started your podcast, it was just kind of
regional reps though, not at large.
Hey, don't get caught up on the names we give things, David. Okay, how something was originally put in and how it's ended up in practice, it's different. That's all I'm saying. Okay.
Yeah.
So. When you guys started the show, you were just like bullshitting on the couch, having fun, and you were like, let's record these conversations. Now you guys are past that. You're past the let's just talk about random stuff as it comes up. You're interviewing guests. You're talking to all kinds of people, going to events. What is the coolest interview you guys have had so far? Or what is like the most memorable moment on the show so far?
I think the most memorable moment was when we were talking about our attorney general ran somebody over with his car, and then they didn't press charges against them, obviously. So we were talking about this case, and Greg said something about because our attorney general wasn't on the road; he was on the shoulder of the road when he hit the guy. So there's a lot of questions on if he was intoxicated or whatever. And Greg said there's like really wide shoulders on the road right here, because we're looking at a picture of the crime scene, really wide. And this guy from like Ireland, because we had a call-in show at the very beginning where anybody could call in. Some guy from Ireland is like, Greg, why do you think that you like men with wide shoulders or something? And I was so hilarious, dude. I can't do an Irish accent to save my life, but it's way funnier. It was like our second episode. That was my most memorable moment. We had some German guy calling too, and he was talking about how he hates democracy and everything. General Butthead or something. And he was telling us like General Butthead's a real thing, and there's some African militant guy or militant guy stealing people's kids and like training them to be in an army or whatever, and we didn't believe him. And we actually looked it up, and it's on Wikipedia. It's like General Butthead, and it's like some like terrorist from Africa, a real thing. And I was like, oh my god, this guy wasn't playing around.
Where you
But
at,
then-
General? He used to pop in.
Yeah, he used
I
to
don't
comment
remember
all the
his name, but
time.
his name was funny though. Yeah, we tried doing a call-in show at first, but it was a little outside our technological capabilities. Just because, like, so people could call in and we would hear them on the podcast, but only Devin could interact with the caller. So that kind of
Yeah.
sucked. That kind of
Yeah.
limited the interaction, you know.
And then we tried doing the links, like you just click a link and you just pop in, but then people would pop
Oh,
in and they
weird.
start screaming
Yeah.
into the microphone or something, and it's like,
Or-
what the hell? That happened like
people that-
3 times.
People that would join the podcast but had no idea what the podcast even was. Like, all right, so what are we talking about here, guys? It's like, well, you came on the show.
Yeah, like
man.
yeah.
You ever have someone show up naked?
No, not yet.
We haven't yet. No. So
Don't
yeah,
get
we
any
switched
ideas,
to
Brad.
Gotta fix
switched-
that. Hold up.
right. We switched from call and show to like a Joe Rogan interview type format, not with 2 of us. And then I don't know. I kind of want to go back to a call and show. I'm gonna try to figure out some kind of software where we can get people to call in. Because I thought that was fun.
A good call-in show almost
Like
needs a
somebody's
third
screen. We need to
producer. Yeah.
screen the calls
Yeah.
to make sure they're not trolls and like make them think they're on the show. So if they scream in the microphone right away, we'll know that okay, we're not gonna bring this guy on.
With StreamYard, can you do like a Zoom interface?
What do you mean?
I don't know. I don't really know if we can. We can just do the StreamYard interface and then we could share different things on our screen. It's pretty basic.
We'll
I don't know
talk about
Zoom.
the
Yeah.
tech side of it because I got an idea that
Yeah.
might work for you.
Hell yeah, we're always up for ideas.
I had an idea. Good, because I have a lot of them. They just usually don't pan out.
Roger Sanchez says, "Why did Devin shave? Because it's summertime, Roger. That's why. And I look
Ratings are
better.
gonna
I
be
think
down now.
our ratings are gonna go up, Greg. They're gonna go through the roof."
For that,
Why is Roger not on? He's just commenting now. He's not going to come on
Yeah.
the show.
Yeah, no, Roger.
You
where
said
are
I was your
bud?
number 1 fan on Echo Chamber. You better come on. My number 1 fan from Hedgehog Watchdog. Better come on right now.
You better get your butt here.
But yeah, I don't really have a lot of questions prepared for you guys. I'm just kind of winging it.
What's your favorite
So I don't
book?
Oh, my favorite book, probably Lord of the Rings. I'm a nerd.
Right on.
What about you, Greg?
I guess I'll be kind of nerdy like you. I like these books. There was a series of them. It's called the Icewind Dale Trilogy. It's a Dungeons and Dragons book. There was actually a couple video games. They weren't based on the books, but yeah, it was really good. They've made like a dozen of them books now. It went from a trilogy to like a dozen of them.
Yeah.
But otherwise, if you were talking like political books, man, I don't read a whole lot. I'm kind of a slow reader, so it's just not my thing to sit back with a book
We've
and
noticed.
read for a couple hours. But I really got into about 20 years ago. I really got into Hunter S. Thompson wrote a lot of. Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. Sure, that's his kind of most famous one because they made a movie out of it. But he almost sparked my interest in politics
with the campaign book when he went
in
on
the
tour?
70s.
Yeah.
He wrote a lot of books. He would follow guys on. One was called Fear and Loathing on the Campaign Trail.
Yeah, that's what it was. I read that one.
Another one was called the Great Shark Hunt, and he had a lot of. He was kind of more of a hardcore liberal, but he made politics seem fun because he was a real big doper, which 20 years ago, that was kind of my thing too. And he just made it seem fun. It was great. He ran for sheriff a couple times too.
I know, Harrison, you've written a book, haven't you?
I've written 2 books and I'm working on my 3rd right now.
Nice. Yeah. What are your books about?
So my first book is an allegory between the U.S. Alien and Sedition Acts of 1798 and the murder of Floyd George Floyd, death of Irwin Schiff for not paying income tax. It's all of these different things like wrapped up into this story about, you know, back in the day when slavery was still legal. I also tie in Robert Nozick's A Tale of a Slave. So we go through, and the main character is a slave who's going to eventually be a free man, and he's friends with Irwin Schiff. Well, as you go through the book, 88, who's the main character, who's the slave, he gets progressively freer, and it's up to you as the reader to decide, when did he finally become free? At what point was he no longer a slave with a master? When is he now a freeman?
Nice. That's actually a good topic. Scott Baldwin says this is why Greg was interrupting Harrison with his beer. Devin has a mic, so what's Greg's drinking?
Yeah.
And then he says, Happy Mother's Day, guys. Yeah, by the way, Happy Mother's Day, all the mothers out there.
Happy Birthing Person's Day. Get it right.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I read that article. Yeah, I don't even want to. I'll let Greg talk about it if he wants to.
It's like, I don't even want to know.
I did not read that article,
That's
but
right.
I saw some people saying that.
Apparently, you don't have to be a woman to give birth anymore because it's 2021, and I don't know. We're from South Dakota, so I don't know. Shit like hits us like 5 years after it hits all the other states, so we'll probably.
I've been made, dude. I get it.
Legalization.
Yeah, and hopefully we actually get our marijuana legalization because apparently our governor is just like suing us with their own money.
Yeah,
it's in the Supreme Court's hands right now. The state Supreme Court. They're basically, I don't know what's taking so long. I think it's a pretty obvious that they should uphold the vote of the people, but I don't know. What do you think is going to happen if they overrule it, Greg? Do you think South Dakotans are just going to be all polite and nice about it, like, oh, well, what can you do? Or do you think we're actually going to go protest like the people in Minneapolis did and start, getting serious about having our voices be heard?
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know about that.
I thought they already did overturn it.
They did in one judge from Circuit 6 overturned it, and then they appealed to the Supreme Court. So now we've got 5 judges. 2 have been appointed by the Christie Nome. So, and it's kind of like a weird situation because on our ballots, we can vote to remove a Supreme Court justice. But then it's just the governor who's against their vote who replaces the judge. So it doesn't really give us any power or influence over the Supreme Court to I don't know what's the word I'm thinking of. Take action against them, not ruling in our favor. Because it's we take action and remove you. Christy Nome will just put another one of her stupid plants in there, right, and it'll get worse.
Well, I've always, not that I want to sit here and waste a whole lot of time on weed, because we've covered it quite a bit here, but I've said it before on the podcast that if the Supreme Court overrules and weed's not legal here, it sucks because to think that we're just going to get it back on the ballot in a year and that it's going to pass again in a year is not going to happen for a couple reasons. One, if you're talking about a 2022 midterm election, the voting turnout's down. Independents and Democrats their voting numbers are way down. It'll be kind of like a red wave midterm. And then not only that, but it was kind of a unique situation how we got it legalized anyways, because they didn't even have this petition ready to go until 2-3 months before the deadline to submit the petitions. And so there was no opposition party established. You know what I mean? There was no PACs and all these anti-groups formed spending millions of dollars, and there will be come next time. The opposition's not going to be resting and thinking that it won't pass. They're going to be ready, and they're going to have millions of dollars to spend. And so I'm not optimistic that we could get it back on the ballot in the next couple of years and have it pass. Maybe 2024, But that
And we
sucks.
spent millions of dollars to get it passed and on the ballot. And it's like, who's going to throw up that couple $1 million again to get weed legalized when they just it went to waste this time? I mean, maybe somebody out there bought a lot of Dogecoin, so they got a lot of money to just throw around. But actually, I heard Dogecoin dropped lately.
Yeah. Elon went on and made a joke about it, and it fell hard.
I called that to the T. I was like, man, this is what happens in crypto. You know, the hype. That's when you want to sell, when everybody's hyping hard, and then right when the news comes out, that's when everything tanks.
And if you're one of those crypto folks out there who was smart enough to position yourself early enough, where you've got thousands of coins that are worth some serious cash sitting around, hit us up. We're happy to take one of them off your hand. You know, it's a very nice donation, helps go for a lot of good. You know, you want to bust up the mainstream media. Where else are you going to do it than besides free speech media? You know,
exactly.
We can pay for Devin to get another brush so he can keep brushing his hair. And that way, when his beard grows out in the winter, he can have two of them to brush his beard and his hair simultaneously. Exactly. But we need your donation to make that happen.
Does Free Speech Media have like a Bitcoin wallet or an Ethereum wallet to donate to yet?
We don't have one as a network, but between us, we have a way of making it happen. Yes. Yeah. And we have Cash App, which does take Bitcoin as well. So I think it might take a couple other cryptos. I'm not too up to date on that. But if you want to put Bitcoin in there, right through Cash App. But most importantly, what I want to talk about is like the stuff that you get when you donate is killer. Yeah. So we're not just like asking for your money. You know, I don't like doing that. You donate $10, we shout you out when we're there recording, say thank you. You know, you get the documentary. You get the documentary a week before anyone else gets it. That's the big key. You're going to have the behind the scenes scoops with all the cool people before anyone else knows it. They're just going to be hearing the rumors and beating themselves off in the corner, pissed off that they don't know what really happened. Meanwhile, you're going to be able to post all the accurate memes you want, talk shit. So,
yeah. Maybe we should do that too, Greg. When we go to Freedom Fest, we do like a behind the scenes documentary. I don't know, make it like 30 minutes long or something.
Black and white.
Yeah, dude, get like all serious with the camera.
That'd be so cool.
Yeah.
Because I know one of the things I want to do is, if I don't know if they'll kick me out, but I really want to heckle Christy Noem when she goes up. But I maybe I shouldn't.
Yes.
I don't know.
Yes.
I shouldn't say that on the podcast.
I'll be right there.
Well, you probably won't be the only one
next to you doing it. So
because it's I feel she's supposedly the keynote speaker, and I'm just so offended about how she's suing the voters for Amendment A, and she's taking all this, she's talking all this stuff about personal liberties and all our freedoms in South Dakota. Come to South Dakota, it's like, lady, you won't even let us legalize weed here. Like, South Dakota loves freedom, and we even legalize weed because we do. Like, we legalized it without going to medical first and then legalizing it. We just went, now we'll just straight legalize it, you know?
Right.
And she's suing us because she thinks legalizing weed is more than one subject, and it violates some stupid, like, protocol and how to ballot initiative process. And it's like, what the then why didn't you bring this lawsuit up before we voted on it? You know, that would have eliminated refusing or disenfranchising like 400,000 people. That's what Nebraska did. Right. They did the same thing. They filed a lawsuit against the petition, but it was before they voted on it, and they ended up winning, which gives me kind of little hope for South Dakota doing this, like overturning it and like legalizing it for us. But who knows? Give us something to do.
You know what you do is all of you just roll up there with doobies on the day that they're going to be talking about it.
There's a lot of talk. There's a lot of talk about doing that. And, you know, every time that happens, I end up being like one of the few people showing up to actually do it. But I don't know. Hopefully this time it actually happens. Because I think that'd be funny. Is like, if like more people show up, then they can handle to arrest and we're all smoking weed. Because
it's going to be Freedom Fest.
Yeah.
Of course, there's going to be too many people smoking weed for them to handle.
This is conservative state, so like their idea of freedom just is like just normal crap. It's like, oh, religious freedom, oh, freedom, when it comes to abortion, pro-life, that's their vision of freedom,
Fuck that. Like, I mean, there's gonna be too many people there with their homies. There's gonna be plenty of weed in the air.
Hey, I tell you what, we did create a plug our own store. You can go to Teespring and look up Hedgehog Watchdog. We have our own store there. But I created these shirts a couple months ago, and it says "Not My Governor," so that'd be a good one to wear to her speech.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes. Yes.
So what other projects do you guys have going on out there?
Other projects?
Yeah, like what's going on in your state LP?
Right now, the big thing is we're getting on the CRM program finally, and we've got a big meeting coming up to vote on that.
Then Freedom
There's some
Fest,
contention,
we need
but
to create some merchandise and stuff that we don't.
yeah, we're trying to get some party merchandise because the party got a booth too. So we're gonna have 4 people for LPSD there. Greg and I will be there with our media passes. So technically there'll be 6 people from the party there. And yeah, Greg and I will probably be trying to scoop interviews during the speeches, like after they get off stage or whatever, they assemble media to get interviews. Typically,
if we do like an outreach booth for the state party, I would just kind of go to lp.org and buy like rack cards, and they got pamphlets and brochures and stuff like that. But since the National Party is going to have their own booth at Freedom Fest, I feel like we need our own like state branded, brochures to hand out.
Yeah,
so we're gonna talk and discuss that, and we've never done a mailer before, so we are gonna talk about it at our upcoming meeting. Possibly, there's only 2,500 registered libertarians in South Dakota. So realistically, if we can get a bulk mail discount, we could send out a letter to everybody in our state. We've never done anything like that before, so that could be interesting. I'm hoping. I've heard of some states that have done that in the past, and they've recouped the cost, and then some. So they actually came out a little bit ahead on the deal. And then every summer, at the end of summer, we always do. For the last 2 years in a row, we do a big old end of summer barbecue. That's always fun.
Nice.
Sweet.
Yeah, that's called Freedom Feast, not to be confused with Freedom Fest.
That's what I mean. I've been following Freedom Fest for a few years, so I actually stole that name a couple years back. Freedom Feast, yes.
I like it. I wish I could go. Too far away.
I dig it.
Yeah. What's that?
That's cool. Y'all got a lot of good shit going on. We've moved over to the Civi CRM system.
Okay.
I don't use it. I don't do the website design or any of that stuff. But the couple of people that do then like send out our emails and things like that, I have no issues with it. No, they know how to use it. So I think it's kind of indifferent.
Yeah.
I think it's a big price saver though. It's definitely saving us a lot of money.
Yeah, we're hoping we can raise more money with it because I don't know, the way they described it to us, you can set up like emails to like people like, hey, do you want to be a $10 annual member of the party and whatever, and
they're supposed to get all that set up for us. So yeah, we're hopeful that it kind of makes things easier on us. We're kind of a smaller, newer party, if you will. We've struggled we've only a state party we've been since 1992, but over the couple decades, we've lost ballot access a few times, and every time you lose ballot access, you're pretty much starting over. And so yeah, over the past few years, we've tried slowly been building the party infrastructure. And I think this year we're gonna really get more active and get some more stuff done, and it should be great.
Awesome. Well, I expect big things then. You pumped it up, Now if you fail, I don't know what to tell you.
Now if I fail, I guess Devin's getting elected next time.
I wanna come out to South Dakota next year for Freedom Feast. That's
Yeah,
my goal.
dude. Do
I want
it.
to come out for that. That'll be sweet.
It gets bigger every time we do it. I think the first time we did, only 12 people showed up, but I think 30 people showed up last year. This year will be the third time we've done it, or Greg's done it, I guess. Greg's basically the one doing it. I show up and promote it a lot, so I take
My
credit
brother who was
sometimes.
commenting. We got to give credit to my brother.
Yeah.
The first year it was me, my brother, and my stepdad who pretty much cooked all the food. And then the next year,
Nice.
and we cooked way too much food the first year. But then the second year, it was just me and my brother. And my brother brought a ton of crap. I mean, he brought like chicken, tri-tip. I mean, I was already smoking pulled pork.
Dude, I'm already hungry. You need to shut up.
Yeah, it was a good time. People that showed up, they were surprised. They were like, "Wow, I didn't realize it was going to be all this." It's like, yeah, come on out.
Yeah.
That's sweet. Yeah, I definitely want to go.
Well, I'll do my best to make it there this year, and the too much food won't be a problem this time.
Yeah, we do it at this place. There's like a mini Grand Canyon area outside Sioux Falls that we do it at. It's pretty nice scenery and stuff. It's not as extravagant as the Grand Canyon, obviously, but it's the best South Dakota on the east side has to offer. The west side of the state's really nice. There's a lot of forests and mountains and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, over here it's kind of flat, but there's some nice spots. But if you want to get to the hills, me and Devin are about 5 hours from there. We're pretty far from the hills.
Well, I guess I won't be going there then.
What about for Freedom Fest? I heard that Macy's Caucus is going to be at Freedom Fest too. Are you going to show up there for them, or?
That's so far away. No,
so far away.
So far away. Unless they're paying my way.
Yeah,
probably not. No, and there is no reason for them to pay my way because I'm pretty much a nobody. So yeah, they're not going to pay my way. But I would love to go. And it doesn't surprise me they're going to be there. That's a giant event, and they're a giant caucus with money. So, I'd be surprised if they weren't.
I'll be there on behalf of FSM.
You'll be at Freedom Fest?
Yeah.
Yeah, nice.
Nice, dude. Yeah, get a media ticket. They're like $150 if you apply for the media pass. And I'm hoping that media pass lets you get access to the speaker, or easier access to the speakers, anyways.
David, how are you getting there? Are you driving?
That's a wonderful question.
When is Freedom Fest?
I hadn't thought that far.
July 21st.
Yeah, 21st to the 24th.
No, I've got.
Well, hey, if you need a place to
before, so I'll be.
If you need
tapped.
If you need a place to stay and you're going to be out here through the 21st through the 24th, there's some cabins that we had stayed at for our state convention out there a couple years ago, and they were really cheap, like only like $80 a night, and they slept like 8 people.
Damn.
So I don't know. I think me and Devin.
Know.
I think me and Devin might go that route, and then if anybody needs a place to stay, we'd have extra bunks available. It's no frills, no thrills, but you're camping in the hills, which is pretty fun.
I'm pretty sure my plans are for the week before that. I'll be in a cabin in Montana with some friends. So taking a pit stop in a place that's somewhat at least close to there rather than taking it in New York.
Yeah.
Sounds fun.
I'm going to see how my wallet's feeling after Pork Fest and make a decision from there. Because I've got Pork Fest 1 month before Freedom Fest.
Better be.
Yeah, what's Pork Fest all about? People from South Dakota probably aren't very familiar with Pork Fest.
So Pork Fest is the Porcupine Freedom Festival.
Festival.
Yeah, it's held in Lancaster, New Hampshire every year, and it's at Rogers Campground. It's a giant libertarian event, small L, not big L. There's everybody from the entire spectrum, and there's all kinds of goodies. There's all kinds of different speakers and debates and events. Literally all kinds of vendors, all kinds of, like, we have 2 spots there. So we'll be advertising FSM. We'll be selling people's merch, selling books, holding debates and podcasts and cigar sessions and stuff like that. So really, PorkFest is just a giant gathering, and it's one of those places you can do drugs, you can hang out, you can sell Bitcoin or whatever. Actually, I don't think you can sell Bitcoin because there's no internet. So you can do whatever you want as long as you don't need good internet to do it.
Mm-hmm.
It's cool as shit. It really is.
Do they have like bands playing or anything?
Yeah, there'll be bands, there'll be debates. Tom Woods, Bob Murphy, Dave Smith. I know those guys are all going to be there speaking. And then they've got people from the other sides of the libertarian spectrum talking too. I just don't know who they are. So
yeah,
it'll be cool.
Yo.
Very much.
Yeah, there's a lot
to it.
There's a lot of events going on around here. We kind of covered it on the podcast a week ago, but so in July we have that, Freedom Fest, obviously, but then in August there's supposed to be a 50th anniversary party for the Libertarian Party out in Colorado.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have the date on that one exactly yet, but it's supposed to be no business. It's just supposed to be a get together, hang out, have fun, celebrating the 50 years. And then again, we have Freedom Feast. That'll be either end of August, early September. And then we have National Party's been doing these regional trainings for officers and candidates they have scheduled. And so our region, the training is September 18th and 19th in Des Moines, Iowa. So yeah, there's just a ton of stuff to do this year, pretty much everywhere.
Yeah, it's definitely a slow time since there's not a presidential election or anything really happening. So there's a lot of, like you said, training sessions and stuff happening. I'm definitely probably going to be hitting up the one in Des Moines with Greg because he said the last one was pretty good. So
it's time for all the behind the scenes training shit. That's what we're doing now.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that the next presidential campaign actually looks good.
Yeah, then you always get to meet people from your region, other libertarians. You usually hang out and have some drinks afterwards. You know how us libertarians do it.
Yeah.
That's why I'm so excited for PA, because there's so many people I'm going to get to meet for the first time in person there. I'm going to be sharing a blunt with people that I've been trying to do that for over a year. So I'm excited for that.
Is Pennsylvania a pretty big affiliate then? I'm not really sure. South Dakota is really small. We only have 2,000 South Dakota. 2,500, I think, actually.
Well, I don't know how many registered people they have, but I know the convention itself is expected to be like a big event.
Yeah.
Who's all speaking?
And I know they actually.
Well, the convention itself is expected to be half out of state libertarian.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it's supposed to. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be big. I mean, it's an event, is what it is. I don't even know if it's a convention anymore. It's just an event. It's a spectacle at this point. And so, like, they've got Scott Horton speaking at the thing. That's, to me, if you've got Scott Horton coming to speak at your event is somewhat big. You know?
Did you?
Yeah.
You see who's going to be on stage with Scott Horton?
Sorry, you cut out there.
Was it Sarwalk?
Oh, it is. It is.
That's a dumb combo.
Scott Horton and Nick Sarwark are going to be sharing a stage at the convention. I'm very much looking forward to that.
You know, I was going to give Sarwark a fair chance. I was going to give him a fair shot. You know, everyone's a dick on Twitter from time to time, whatever. And then I catch him coming out of the bathroom, and as he's drying his hands on his pants, I'm like, "Hey, Nick, you got something to say to the people at home watching on Free Speech Media?" And he just kind of chuckles, and I was like, "Oh, you're my fucking enemy, guy. You're gonna laugh at me? You're fucking done,
You
son."
just made an enemy for life.
So I put him on my mortal USB stick, and now I just devote my life to destroying him. All right, almost none of
Yeah.
that's true, but no.
Yeah, he I don't know, he doesn't have a lot of fans in South Dakota, I don't think. I think he said a lot. I think there's a lot of Ron Paul fans here, so talking trash about Ron Paul is gonna get you in like the shit list around South Dakota. But yeah, I don't know. I met everybody at the convention when we went in Orlando, so I don't know. I think it's kind of cool that he got somebody off on death row, but you know, I think he is kind of a dick sometimes. But I don't know. I think he told everybody to eat a dick at the convention too. And I was like, "What the fuck is going on right now?" That was my first. That was my first convention. Yeah, I was like, "What is that?" I thought it was really unprofessional how he's kind of like, "I'm not gonna chair the Orlando convention." It's kind of seemed like retaliation because we didn't want to vote for chair at that online session. I don't know.
Petty. That's what it is.
Yeah. Petty. Yeah. I don't know. What are your thoughts, Greg? I'll be back in like 30 seconds.
Thoughts about what? Sarwark? I don't know. I think most people don't even know who he is or don't even care. That's kind of, I try to separate, like I'm online, I'm on social media a lot. I read a lot of what people say. I read what the national people are up to. You know, I read a lot of the backlash that we get online. But I think the general libertarian or the general voter doesn't give two craps about any of that shit. They don't give a crap who the chair of the national party is. They don't. The 2,500 people in South Dakota that are libertarians don't even give a crap that I'm the chair of the state party. Like, you know, I mean, I just be honest. Like, most people, they're not that engaged that they care so much about the leadership of the party. You know, most people join the party because they don't.
Yeah, most people.
Oops, go ahead.
Sorry.
I was just gonna say most people.
I was just gonna say most people either care too much or don't care at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good.
Like,
I would say, you know,
my biggest problem at the moment is that he's not even the chair anymore, and everybody is still people have too much fun hating him. It's kind of like Trump. Trump got voted out, and everybody's like incapable of leaving it alone. So Nick
He's so easy to hate, though.
Sarwark has been out of the chairmanship for almost an entire year now. He's never actually been a part of most of the groups that people associate him with, but everybody keeps bringing him up and trying to make him relevant when he really he's not in most cases, and he's definitely not for most of the reasons that people try to make him relevant for. People try to be like, "Oh, you're part of this so-and-so group, and Nick is such and such, so I'm gonna shit on you." And it's like, actually, like that group and Nick have never associated with each other. Or like people try to shit on the party as a whole. It's like, no, actually, he stepped down. He didn't run for re-election. Nobody beat him. We didn't remove him from office. He didn't run for a fourth term because that would have been ridiculous. He served for 6 years, and that's too many for his mental health, in my opinion. Like, he's a really good guy that got shat on and torn to bits by a bunch of morons and edgelords online for 6 straight years, and became a little hardened and a little quick-witted online and in person to some people. But that happens when you have hundreds of morons attacking you online all day, every day for 6 straight years. You're entitled to be a little bit hardened after that.
Yeah, when I was like studying up on the party, I watched some videos of Sarwark from back in the day compared to the last convention, and there's a dramatic change in personality, it seems, from then to now. Sorry, I interrupted you, Harrison. What were you saying?
I was going to say, yeah, you can definitely get hardened from it, but if you can no longer communicate with other members of your team because you're so hardened, you're a useless member of the team at that point.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that
I've been communicating with him. I feel like most people that criticize him don't actually try to communicate with him.
Well, right. And I'm just saying in general, like, yes, you can get hardened, but if you become so hardened and so like pissed off that you can't work with people, or that, and it's not always his fault, obviously, but if all of your interactions with people who you don't exactly agree with are always snarky, we're not going to advance this thing. Like, it needs to be a two-way street. Both sides need to cut their bullshit and move forward.
Agreed.
I always thought, because I went to the 2018 convention in New Orleans, and so he got reelected at that one, and his speaking ability, like when you watched him debate on stage, I mean, he's good. I watched him when he was running for mayor of Phoenix. I watched a mayor's debate that he did in Phoenix too, and I think libertarians probably honestly spend way too much time eating our own, way too much time bashing members of our own party, because like you can say that, oh, I don't like Sarwark and he's not the best libertarian, or maybe you have things that you don't agree with in his platform issues or something like that, but when you put him on a debate stage against these other mayor candidates who are not libertarians at all, they're not proposing libertarian solutions at all, he looks good, he shines, and so I'd really just stay away from like trying to bash anybody too much. If you're doing good work on behalf of the party, that's why I don't get into bashing the Mises Caucus too much. I'm not a member, but they do a lot of good work too, regardless of your criticisms of them, because they're bringing people in, they're donating to candidates, they're promoting candidates, and so I don't want to run anybody off. Like, I want to build this thing,
True that.
Yeah, well, it's like earlier today, I did a panel discussion with Johnny Lemuria, who's a founding member of the Libertarian Socialist Caucus, and Kathy Riesenwitz. I hope I pronounced her name correctly. And, that's one of those discussions. I'm sure everybody, when they see Mises Caucus state organizer, Johnny Lemuria, and Kathy Riesenwitz, they're going to go, that's going to be confrontational. I bet there's a lot of fighting in that episode. We disagreed on like 3 minor points. The rest of it was like, yeah, I agree with that. That makes a lot of sense. And it was just like, aside from asking clarifying questions, there was no confrontation. We were able to break through the baloney and actually talk about things. And if we're going to have a party, I think caucuses are important, but they're being used improperly. So I think a caucus should be, what are your most important issues? What do you know the most about? That's what you're going to focus on. And then, so like I'm really focused on reducing the size and scope of the government in some certain aspects. I have the legal knowledge to do that. I have the connections to work with that and write those laws. I don't know anything that's going on with GSM laws and rules and whatnot. I'm not in that community. So I would love being able to hand that off to someone else and say, hey, this person, they're a libertarian. These are their issues. Can you talk to them about it? Can you bring them into the fold in a way I can't? And then when you get someone who economics is their number one thing, gun rights are their thing, pass them off to me. I'll talk to them. That's how these caucuses should work. Is that builds the teamwork. But unfortunately, it's just infighting at this point.
Yeah. Yeah, the infighting is what's bringing us down. That's why, I don't know. I try to stay out of
the idea that we would fight over control over a federal system so that we can tell all 50 states how they should do things and what they should do sounds very unlibertarian to me.
Yeah, I personally witnessed some groupthink, and so like libertarians are definitely kind of against this whole collectivism, so when I see people that clearly aren't thinking for themselves and they're just kind of going with, that's what I don't like about the caucuses, because it's like, okay, the caucus has endorsed so-and-so. And then a lot of people think that because they endorse so-and-so, that means that they're now anti this guy. And it's like, well, it doesn't have to be like that. You know what I mean? Like, it's just you want to promote your candidate. It doesn't necessarily mean you got to call this other guy. I mean, one thing that I really was irritated about was in Orlando, they had the chairs debate, and there was a group of people that like started calling Bishop Henchman a piece of shit right as soon as he started talking. Oh, this like loud, obnoxious. It's that's the kind of groupthink collectivism that doesn't belong in the party.
Well, was it one asshole or was it like multiple assholes?
Yeah, it was probably 4 or 5, half a dozen assholes being pretty. And it's just I don't get it. It's like you can have criticisms against people, but to just immediately basically boo a guy coming on stage because he's not your endorsed candidate.
Well, they did that too. There was another group that did that. This Joshua Smith too.
Yeah, it goes both ways. Yeah.
Like the next day, it was like they're all talking about
they brought his estranged daughter out to talk shit.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna mention. That people are screaming about that, like during, like while he was on stage, they were screaming that stuff.
To be fair,
like, Jesus. Yeah, what were you saying, David?
Yeah. I was gonna say, and to be fair, in 20.
Oh, I was just gonna say, to be fair.
You're both trying.
He kind of brought the estranged daughter into it. Yeah,
he's the fairest. I was gonna say in 2018, they had the chairs race, and it was really weird. They had a socialist on that Matt. What was his name? Matt something.
They had a socialist in 2022. What is with that? How do they even get enough people to, like, how does that work? How do you get to be running for chair? Don't you need like a threshold of delegates that even know?
No.
Damn, dude, it's like anybody could just be
I'm
running for chair.
In order to be in a debate, you have to have a certain amount of support, I believe. But
so how the hell does this socialist guy get enough support to even be on the debate stage?
I don't know.
Because there's a very large wing of the party that believes in libertarian socialism.
Is there?
Michigan, yes, yeah.
We're isolated here in South Dakota. We don't hear much of that stuff.
I mean, the thing is, like, I hear there's a large wing of it, but I asked Johnny, like, hey man, who else is a good content creator on your side of things? Like, who could we bring on the network? And he's like, I don't have any names. So my question is, if they're so big, what are all their people doing? Every libertarian has a podcast. Where are all the LibSoc podcasts? I want some on FSM, but there aren't any out there. And because I live in kind of a bubble, I don't have any LibSocs up here. I'm getting the impression that's probably faulty, that LibSocs are kind of like unicorns. You see like 3 of them in your lifetime and you're like, man, they're everywhere. When in reality, they're not. So I'm probably wrong about that, to be fair. In other states, it's probably a lot different, but that's what I see here in Maine.
Yeah, I know of 2. There's got like James Weeks, the guy that got naked on stage, and then you got the Mike Shipley, the Mohawk guy, and I don't know any other big named libertarian socialists myself, other than those 2.
I don't know if that James Weeks is, but I know he rolled around with those guys. Yeah, I don't know. I had a guy a couple months ago ask me about the socialist caucus or whatever. A guy from a local from South Dakota that's pretty big into politics, but I'd say we don't agree on much, though, to be honest. I mean, maybe like drug laws, ending the wars. And then aside from that, like economically, we don't really have anything in common. But I'm always willing to work with, if we have a couple issues that we agree with, then we can focus and work together on those issues. Mm-hmm. And then the ones we just don't agree with, it's like, well, you're on your own.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can work with you on Monday and fight you on Tuesday. It all depends on what we're talking about.
Would we be libertarians otherwise?
Right.
We have to eat our own and fight people that are trying to like end the wars and end the war on drugs, reduce the size of the scope of the state, do all the libertarian things. If we didn't fight them, we wouldn't really be libertarians, right?
Well, they're easier to fight than the state. It's easier to feel like you're doing something.
Right.
You can say, oh, well, I've turned this movement into what I want it to be, rather than, nope, we reduced the size and scope of the government. And we stopped letting the government hurt people.
Yeah. Greg's brother says, I'm way more liberal than my brother, but we focus on our agreements way more than our disagreements. My favorite part of being a libertarian.
I don't know. I got bad news for Scott. It doesn't sound like he's a real libertarian. I had Angela McArdle on one of my shows months ago, and just to be kind of an ass, I was like, so what do you classify as a real libertarian? And it was like the only gotcha question I asked the whole time, because I was just like, I want to know the answer. Like, this is my favorite question to ask people. And she was like, I forget what her answer was, but it was a good one. But I love that whole, like, that trope of, oh, you're not a real libertarian. You know, someone will get like pineapple on pizza, and I'm like, what the fuck, stupid statist? Because it's so overused, you know?
Right.
Yeah, that's what we need to get we need to get some of these chair candidates on our show, Greg. I guess it's pretty early for that, isn't it? I don't know. When's the chair election? 2022? Yeah.
It's like a year away.
Yeah. I had JBH on the show about 3 weeks before the convention.
Yeah.
That was pretty fun.
Yeah.
I tried to get Josh on, but and Mike. I wanted to have all three on, and neither Josh nor Mike responded because I was still a fairly nobody.
Yeah, we had Joshua Smith on our podcast a couple months ago, but then he ended up dropping out of the chair race. So now we're down to 0 chair candidates so far.
Oh, he's not running now?
Yeah, he dropped out. I think it's because him and McArdle are from the same caucus, so it kind of makes sense that you don't want one of them or the other to like maximize your chances.
Well, you also you've already tried twice, you know, and the knock against him, not personally, but the knock against him running is that he tends to only get a certain amount of votes. And then on the second and third ballots, he doesn't pick up any votes. Mm-hmm. So he's not crossing over, you know, with a broader appeal. You know, he's got his core guys that's like 30-40%, but that's not enough.
That's my that's why I can't beat you for chair.
You gotta kiss a little butt, Devin. Every once in a while, you gotta kiss a little butt.
I will say Josh is a much different person now than he was when he was running for chair in 2020. Like he's grown a lot in the last couple of years.
Well, he's a good guy. We don't have nothing bad to say about him. Wish him the best. He's got a new podcast. Check it out.
True that. Some dope ass graphics.
I know, right? Yeah. Who's doing that?
Top Lobster.
Yeah. Got the whole Miami Vice / Vice City graphics going on. Yeah, they're pretty cool. I was kind of thinking me and Devin needed like some cartoon headshots or something. Everyone's been doing that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's hire a cartoonist to like draw up our pictures.
That'd be cool as shit.
Yeah.
Turn your heads into hedgehogs or something.
That'd be funny. Make the hedgehog version of me. Go.
Oh, man.
Well, yeah, coming on at the end of the show, do you guys have any things you want to plug before we sign out for the night?
I'll go first. So,
ladies first.
Obviously, yes, ladies. So, go to harrisonkemp.com. You can find all my books, my podcasts, my blog, all of that fun shit. Make sure you check out Free Speech Media, facebook.com/Free Speech Media. You can also find it on DLive and Trovo if you want to get out of these lizard people-owned mediums. You can find me on Twitter at HarrisonKemp13 and on Facebook at Harrison.Kemp.53. Also, right now, I'm working on my latest book. It's I got a GoFundMe for that. You can fucking find that shit somewhere. More importantly, though, we're working on the trip to go down to LPPA and do that convention, and you get all kinds of goodies if you donate. That is in the comment section over there on Facebook, so make sure you go check that out. And Devin and Greg, I'm sure, will be able to share that around as well.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thanks for coming on.
When is that convention?
Next
That
weekend.
is
Next
Friday
weekend.
and Saturday.
Okay.
Yeah,
Coming right up.
that will be a great time.
What about you, David? Anything you want to plug real quick?
So yeah, check out the show. It's Fight for Liberty, spelled the way that my name is, which is over here in the corner. You can go to Linktree/Fight for Liberty to find it, like everywhere. Got some really interesting guests coming up the next couple of weeks. I have Nico House from the Mikasa Sukasa Network, big progressive guy that I got to meet back during the Tulsi days. Is on Tuesday, and then next Tuesday I'm doing a state chair special. So I'm having 4 of the Young Americans for Liberty state chairs on together.
Nice.
So that'll be a really good time. And you can go back and watch some of the last couple episodes that I've done. I've got Phil LeBont, Mark Pellegrino, Dave Smith, Scott Horton, Kerry Wedler. Got some pretty good ones over the last few months. So go check those out.
Awesome. Well, appreciate you guys coming on the show. You'll have to have you guys on again sometime. It's been a fun time.
Yeah.
My pleasure. Thanks for having us.
Let's do it.
Tell
Yeah.
Roger he's in trouble.
Yeah, tell
Oh, yeah.
Roger
He
he's
is. He's fired.
We forgive him, but we'll have to have him come on again now. He still has to come on. He's not out of this yet.
When he comes on, make sure he gives you the royal treatment. Okay. When he came on
Yeah.
my show the first time he came on my show, he lit himself on fire twice. If he doesn't at least do that for you, he's showing you disrespect. So
We're like, you have to drink this radium water, Roger, right now. Get one up, letting yourself on fire.
Do what is it? The cinnamon challenge or something like that?
do the cinnamon challenge while on fire.
You got to drink this gallon
While
of
on
milk during
fire.
the podcast.
Oh,
That would be
That's good
great.
stuff.
Yeah. All right. Thanks,
Well,
gentlemen. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you guys.
Yeah.
We'll see you guys later.
All right. So, Greg and I have a few things to plug real quick here. As you know, we'll be at Freedom Fest, and we also have a coupon code to get $100 off your ticket. If you're from South Dakota, Libertarian Party of South Dakota has a coupon code that is FF21 LPSD. You can enter that in. I think it's freedomfest.com. Yep. There's going to be a lot of libertarian guests there. I think the 2 keynotes are Joe Jorgensen, Justin Amash. But I think David Smith and who are the other ones? Tom Woods. JP Sears. A lot of cool people.
I'm really hoping he hasn't been announced, but I'm hoping John Stossel is going to be there.
Oh my
I'd like
God,
to meet
dude.
him.
I loved John Stossel's debate with like Jorgensen and Judge Jim Gray and Kokesh and all of them, Supreme.
He's good. He always
that
asks
was so
questions
good.
that he doesn't believe in, but he just asks them anyway.
Yeah. Like,
Well,
he's
what
like,
would you say to?
oh my God, dude, that was so cool. That was so
Yeah.
cool. Yeah.
What
like,
if people
if
don't
I-
like freedom?
Yeah, if I ever am honored with the chance to moderate another debate in the Libertarian Party, I'm going to do it John Stossel style
Yeah.
because that was
What
another
if
level.
people like free healthcare? What do you say about that? Jeez, John, I thought you were a libertarian.
Right.
He's great though. I like John Stossel. He usually goes, but yeah, we'll see.
Do we have anything else that we need to
Plug.
I can't think of anything.
State party executive committee meeting on the 18th. If
Yeah, we
you're
got
really
that.
a glutton for punishment and want to see how the inner workings of the party goes, you can message us, get invited.
Yeah, and then we just want another shout out to everybody that has bought t-shirts off hedgehogwatchdog.com. That's actually literally what was able to allow us to be able to afford to go to Freedom Fest. So super shout out to everybody here. I'll throw up our website real quick. Here's our shirts that we have to offer. We're probably going to throw some more designs on here soon because we haven't done that in a while, and we got some really good ideas. But yeah, shout out to everybody who's bought a t-shirt. You're the reason why we're going to be able to go to Freedom Fest. You're our heroes, and we're going to be able to bring back a lot of interviews with some high-profile people. Hopefully, we'll get some good shots. Hopefully, we get up good seating for the speaker event. And yeah,
It's Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day.
Yeah, happy Mother's Day.
Buy your mother a t-shirt.
Yeah. Like it's one of a kind. Where else are you gonna get cool stuff like this, you know? And yeah, that's all I've got. Do we have any cool guests coming on next week, or is it an open week so far?
Next week is an open week, so if you have somebody maybe that you guys are interested that you want to hear from that we could book in the next week or so, like I said, at the end of the month we have the person in charge of the Anthem Film Festival that's going to be running during Freedom Fest. So that's going to be a good conversation. We're hoping to. I haven't checked my email in a couple of days. We might already have a response, but I'm hoping to get the founder of Freedom Fest on here in the next month as well too. So we got some good stuff planned.
Yeah, maybe we'll try to do another call-in show or something next week and bring it back to the old times. If we get any trolls, whatever, like we won't have a guest that's on that we're embarrassed that we had a troll come on and scream into the microphone. So yeah, but yeah, thanks for tuning in. And here, let me get this video primed up before I close out. And yeah, we'll see you next Sunday at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. It's our endorsement video. Oh yeah, this episode, like all episodes, are sponsored by pinkcoin.com. If you would like to have us mention you in our podcast, just email us at hedgehogwatchdog@gmail.com, and we're happy to work with you. We probably have the best rates if you're looking for a good rate, and if you have a libertarian themed business, like obviously you want us to promote you because we are the #1 libertarian podcast in South Dakota and news blog. Yeah, maybe even this region, dude. Like who else has had
Dakota War College? Eat that.
Like who else has had all 6 or almost all, like 90% of every chair in Region 6 on the same show? That was all done by Greg. Bravo, Greg. That was epic.
Yeah, that was a pretty good show. If you're a libertarian in Region 6, got to watch that episode.
Yeah. What did you what do you think about that episode? Did you learn anything from the chairs that you were talking to in the round table? Did you like meet your goal that you set out when you went down to invite them to be all gathered at a round table together?
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was a good exchange of ideas. There were some good things I took away, and then it kind of give you a little insight into what the other states are doing and what they've got going on, and try to take some of their ideas and run with it. Like I said, sometimes you get a little down about your own party. Sometimes you're like, oh man, I see all these great things that these other states are doing, and man, I really wish we were had twice the membership and we were a lot more organized. But then you start to realize that not everybody has it together. We're all fighting. We're all doing the best we can. So just keep pushing forward.
Yeah, we're all rounding first base, and eventually we're going to get that home plate, and we're going to be the majority party in America, and it's going to be a blessing for everybody.
And we'll be able to say we were in on the ground floor.
Yeah, we were in on like the ground floor. So yeah, if you want to get on the ground floor with us, sign up. Check out what is it? LP or what's our website?
LPSouthDakota.org.
Yeah, LPSouthDakota.org is a contact form. Just fill that out. We'll be in touch with you like right away. And yeah, we'll see you next Sunday at 7 p.m.
See ya.